there's other people that talked about it being more intentional, that he saw an opportunity not only to solve a problem but then to start a business. And he was more intentional about the first moves.
I think he was absolutely intentional about it. To what level, I'm not sure, but like there are certainly newscasts of John talking about the fear and the disaster that's coming with these viruses.
Yeah, after they incorporated.
Around that time of like I have a product that can help you with these things, and so you need to be worried about these, and talking specifically about the blast radius and how many computers in the United States could be affected. And then you'll see clips of the reporters going for an alternate view, and they bring up some cybersecurity person who we don't know, and they're like, yeah, the blast radius is just, it's not that big. It's really not that big of a deal. You really shouldn't be worried about it. And John's like, no, you need to be worried about it. Buy my software, because otherwise your data is going to be gone.
But so there's two parts there. The first thing is when he was actually developing it, because I sometimes wonder how many founders rewrite history in terms of their intent to go in, start a business. I want to take this from here to here, versus
it could have been open source, I guess.
I just started this thing, and
yeah, he could have open sourced
took off, and everybody loved it right away. It was magical.
That's never the case.
And so that kind of 0 to 100, that whole,
literally, yeah,
like that's the thing that I always find interesting with people, is how they tell that story, or how they gloss over all of the stuff that led to that moment, where things just kind of go viral.
You know what's funny is he actually says this, is that as soon as he figured out it was between the brain and the Michelangelo virus. The Michelangelo virus is the same thing as the brain. It would self-replicate, but it would destroy your computer on Michelangelo's birthday. That was the only difference. But I mean, he even says, he's like, oh yeah, I saw how they were doing it. I instantly knew, if they're doing it this way, I can stop them. And I wrote a program in 2 days. That was what he said.
That's interesting.
I wrote a program in 2 days and shipped it.
I was listening to this.
And we're in the age of AI, where people aren't even doing that.
I listened to this, I was listening to this podcast recently, and this person was talking about timing. And the person said that timing is more a function of recognition than it is of hard work or force.
Okay.
Or I think they might have been saying that there was coupling timing with power, and then contrasting that with force. And the recognition part of it was really interesting, because when you could recognize the time to move, then you can execute really quickly, and it seems effortless and it seems quick.
Yeah.
And a lot of the hard work goes into finding the right thing to be paying attention to, or recognizing the right moment to go in, write that program.
Oh yeah.
Et cetera, et cetera. So,
I mean, from the dawn of time, building the thing has never been the constraint. For some people it has been, it's argued. But building the right thing has always been the constraint, and always will be the constraint. Especially even now, in an age of AI, where we have the ability to build anything in a prompt.
I think more so now.
I think it's more highlighted now, for sure, because it's pretty obvious that building barrier isn't really there anymore.
Yeah.
Some people were, and I think for John, it's interesting. Not only was he technically competent to be able to do these kinds of things, but then the way he talks about them is.
And so that's the second part of what you were talking about.
Nobody would say I built Microsoft in 2 days, but if John was doing it, he probably would say that.
No, but they kind of did though, or that's what the story ends up getting.
That's the narrative.
As.
Yeah.
At least the story when Paul Allen was flying to the West Coast, and they had to build the
plane
loader.
Yeah.
In the plane there, and so there's those stories that get spread out, but it seems like the difference is McAfee's the one who's telling the shortened version of the story.
Right.
And when you go back on the other founders, they're like, oh my God, it was so hard, it took forever. Nobody even appreciates the work. But the other part that's really interesting is then the campaign that he had after. We were talking about Vince McMahon and kayfabe right before we turn on the cameras, and how it seems like John McAfee lived in the same world where there was a blend between real life and fiction. And this is something that I want to get into more in the Super Secret.
Absolutely.
But I think there's a little bit of a preview that we can give right now.
Give me a little sneak peek.
Which, I mean, I find it so fascinating. It seems at moments, especially in the documentary, that he was really aware of the power of narrative and seemed to be shaping it for heightened attention. 100%. And when you go back to how he sold the antivirus software, he was not scared to lean into the fear and the paranoia of just their people's computers being taken over.
It's really interesting. It's like almost like he's marketing it every day, and it's like his life. His life is the thing that he's now marketing, of like
as the
how
founder.
Crazy it is, and like
people buy the founder. They don't necessarily buy the product, which kind of makes sense because the product is what's produced from the founder. So the founder's at the source. You can kind of anticipate different versions of what might be produced. But going back to it, I still think it's something where we can sit on a little bit, because that's the tool set that he used. That's what he leaned into. And you look at what drives certain founders, we're ultimately looking at why they're making their decisions, what they're choosing not to do, how they move things. And that's something that I think is worth, peeling back a little bit.
What do you think his motivations were in doing that? 'Cause I think it was successful.
I mean, to sell. So I look at, like, success is hitting your mark. So that's why I think, like, you can be a billionaire and be successful. You can be a waitress and be successful. You can be a teacher and be successful. It ultimately comes down to, did you mean to do what you were trying to do?
Okay. Did you hit your mark?
Did you hit your mark? Was it a success? And I think that he was trying to sell. And I think he also recognizes that people buy more off of fear and paranoia than they do off of potential or optimism.
Especially in an age where computers are just starting to be a thing. That even in and of itself could be scary.
Huge unknown.
It's like, what's a computer? Sometimes you take for granted how old some of these stories are in terms of the 60s and 70s,